What's up, you guys? Welcome to the May 19th edition of NBA 3-Ball, presented by Established Run. I'm your host, Mike Gallagher, getting ready to preview a couple blowouts on Tuesday and talk some injuries and preview Wednesday. So pumped for that. We're going to do this in more than 10 minutes. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe, please. And just hit the injury report really quick. So only two things of note for Wednesday. Anthony Davis is questionable, fully expected to play. Shoulder and adductor injury should be fine, full go. Tough matchup, talk about that in a second. And then also Grayson Allen did practice today, although I don't know if he's going to play because A, he just may not be in the rotation, and B, they got to get Jaren Jackson in there, play Dylan Brooks a lot at the 2 to guard DeRozan. All right, let's talk some preview. Going to start with the defending champs with the Lakers, even though their game isn't first, but who cares? This is the good game, right? So, let's lead with AD, who has been checked pretty hard by Draymond Green. Only scored 17 points in his lone game against the Warriors this year. 17 points from him. And the matchup data has Draymond locking him down. 1 of 7 this year, and also 1 of 6 in 2018-19. Didn't really see each other when the years they were pretty much both hurt. So Davis wants to play center now. He said actually on Tuesday that he's open to playing center now that he is in the postseason. And we saw that was really the key to them last year. So this is extremely noteworthy. If you are thinking about playing Andre Drummond, Gasol, you cannot play Montrezl Harrell no matter what, or Gasol, but we know they want to play Drummond together. That's really important to them. Not a great spot to do it with the way the Warriors are going to want to play. So, I think Draymond could definitely take care of Davis. Not an AD spot for me, especially with the injuries and getting that questionable tag. Certainly expect him to play. LeBron, big usage in his last 2 games since he returned back-to-back. Minutes weren't there. That was by design, but I think he should be in a pretty good spot here. He's had Kelly Oubre on him for most of the season series. He's obviously not there. They'll see a lot of Wiggins, a little bit of Bazemore. I think he could crush. If Draymond is kind of being a good defensive option on AD, then path of least resistance, right? You'll go to LeBron all day. So I think he's in a pretty good spot. Dennis Schroeder, not very good in time with LeBron and AD, only 14, 4, and 5 per 36. I don't like the matchup either. Should see a lot of Bazemore with a cross match with Steph Curry guarding KP, which is the case over the course of the year. After that, you really can't get into anybody else. I think it's just LeBron or bust if you're playing DFS. You can't play Kuzma. He has terrible minutes with AD and LeBron as well. So maybe Schroeder, maybe KCP if he kind of gets hot. We'll expect him to play a pretty good amount of minutes, especially if they do go smaller. But yeah, LeBron's really the only guy I like because the Warriors play pretty good defense. As we shift gears to the Warriors now, they have the number 1 half-court defense since James Wiseman went down. Not a coincidence that they've gotten hot. Schedule's a little bit softer, but number 2 defense overall. I think their defense is going to be really solid. They've been good at stopping transition. Their weakness is on the glass, so I think that could help, but it's so risky to mess with Drummond and those guys for reasons I already said. Starting with Curry, the story here is he's just such a different player without Kelly Oubre and James Wiseman. With those guys, that old starting lineup that they had with Oubre and Wiseman, only 23 points per 36. Without Wiseman, without Oubre, and with Draymond, 39 points per 36. My goodness. Matchup-wise, Dennis Schroeder actually guarded him more than anybody else in the NBA this year per the matchup data, and did a good job. 39.5 effective field goal percentage on 19 shots from him. So that's a tough matchup. I don't really think it's going to matter. They're going to get Curry going a lot. And AD actually called him the head of the snake, so they're going to do all they can to limit Curry. So I think it's not crazy to fade him, but then again, he's so hot. He has a 39.4 usage rate over his last 9 games. It's so hard to not buy Curry because he's so hard to defend. They're going to do their best. So if you didn't want to play Curry, certainly would expect Andrew Wiggins to play a lot. We saw against the Suns game in particular, Andrew Wiggins really stepped up offensively. So if the Warriors make it a close game and Curry has a bad game, it's because Andrew Wiggins has a good game. So I like him. Draymond Green also has a locked-in role. 21 potential assists over his last 6 games. Rebounding well. Actually has a 52 effective field goal percentage on his jumper in his last 11 games. Not going to shoot a lot. You're talking about 13 usage rate, probably tops. But I expect those guys to really carry the load. Kent Bazemore is tricky because they could run him out there for defense, but Jordan Poole's also awesome, and it's in fact 25.2 net rating in the last 5 games with Steph and Poole. 10.3 if you go into a bigger sample over the last 15 games, 127 minutes. So if AD does go small, we could see that Steph, Poole, Baze, Wiggins, Draymond lineup, only 11 minutes on the year. But that could be the case here if this game is high tempo and AD's down there. So I like all those dudes. Is a little bit tough. I think Poole could have a good game, but I think Bazemore is going to be needed for Schroeder on his defense. So we'll see. But yeah, it's pretty tough to be too aggressive on the non-Warriors studs here. I think JTA will play a lot, but not going to score a lot. Only 10.8 usage rate this month. Moving to the Grizzlies and Spurs, and yeah, the transition offense is going to be everything for Memphis. They really push the pace. They're first in points plus per possession in transition, have the lowest percentage of possessions in half court. The Spurs are actually good at transition on defense, so they may limit them there. I still think Memphis is going to have no problem scoring a bunch, especially with the Spurs struggling to defend the rim, which also sets up really nicely for John Morant here. I think Morant, who had a really good season series, averaged 25 and 9 assists, 68 true shooting, 32 usage rate. Jonas Valanciunas didn't play in 2 of those games, so that boosted him a little bit. But 15 drives per game, shot it well on those drives. I think he's going to really be able to take care of business and push it. And we saw last year in the bubble that Taylor Jenkins, if he needs to, he will push up John Morant's minutes. So I think he will be on his Grizzly, as J. Cole would say. So into him, certainly into Valanciunas, to a degree. Just because of his minutes being so high, he's played 34.3 minutes in his last 4 games, 27 and 15 in that time. Doesn't have any time against Pirtle. Only really 6 minutes. Last year, he did put work on him. 29, 16, and 5 per 36 in 35 minutes. So not worried about the matchup. Mentioned the Spurs being vulnerable at the whim. So I think that he could be really good. Dillon Brooks, we'll talk about him in a second, but he's going to play a lot. He was really impactful on defense. Usage rate is also up lately. He's 30.3 usage rate in his last 4 games, so I think he's going to play a lot if he avoids foul trouble, which is going to be tough. We know DeMar likes to get to the line, so he could be really good. Jaren Jackson also fouling a bunch, almost 6 fouls per 36, so really tough to count on there, but the Spurs are going to want to attack the basket, so I think he could block some shots, hit some threes, score a bunch, really like him. Do not play Kyle Anderson. Only 10, 7, and 3 as a small forward next to Valanciunas and Jaren Jackson Jr. Well, again, the Grayson Allen thing pretty much takes D'Anthony Melton off the board for me. You need Melton to probably have Jaren Jackson or Brooks or both have foul trouble to be viable. Spurs here, starting with DeMar DeRozan, only 15.7 points per game in this season series, and that's because of Dillon Brooks. Dillon Brooks guarded him third most among anybody who guarded DeRozan on the year. Not great. They limited his drives. He didn't really get to the line too much. Was pretty good there. So not into DeRozan for the reasons I said. Yeah. So I think actually, much like the AD stuff with Draymond, I think it could set up for DeJounte Murray here because they're going to really want to push the tempo and get them going. So that is really right up DeJounte's alley. So I think John Morant, who guarded him pretty well, I think he could really take advantage of this matchup if DeMar is struggling. He should be pretty healthy, fairly rested. We know that was kind of an issue. We've seen some DeJounte back-to-back issues. So I think DeJounte is actually in a really good spot here. And surprisingly, Keldon Johnson led the team in scoring per game. So I think that's something to watch. We'll see a lot of Jaren Jackson on him, which I think he can maybe take advantage of if he can hit threes, but he's not that great of a shooter. So I don't think it's that great of a spot, especially if Pop does go to Patty Mills, or obviously Rudy Gay. We know Mills, they really like his defense late in games, so it's going to be really tough for me to go after Lonnie Walker. Keldon would be a little bit risky. I haven't seen his price yet, but I think he's in a pretty good spot matchup-wise. But I think DeJounte is really the guy I'm keying here on. Is like a point guard stack. I think if you wanted to fade Curry, I think those guys make sense. To the Tuesday basketball action, just a bloodbath in the first game with the Pacers winning 117. No Karis LeVert, out for protocol, so he'll miss the next game. And it was Justin Holiday who started, but really it was Doug McDermott who torched him. Don't forget, the Hornets are the team that kills teams with wide open threes, and I think the Pacers knew that early with 10 first half threes. Brogdon was limited, 21 minutes, but played pretty well. A little slow around there, but looked good. But O'Shea Brissett was really key late, 23 points from him. What a great pickup for a 10-day deal. Sabonis also did his thing, 21 on the glass, 9 assists. Struggled around the basket, but yeah, good win for the Pacers. Hornets-wise, yeah, rough end of the season for them. LaMelo's hurt. Talked about it previously. His wrist is bothering him, was flexing it. His efficiency on jumpers has just fallen apart. Really struggled today. The shot doesn't look good. He'll be fine. Certainly a guy we're going to be targeting in drafts next year. Miles Bridges comes up big for me. I thought he was going to have a pretty good game and does so. 37 minutes, 23 points. Love to see that. And I don't know why Bismack Biyombo started. He definitely should have started Zeller. Zeller still comes through in a pretty good spot. I thought he was going to do pretty well. Other than that, it's rough. We'll see what the Hornets do with Zeller if they bring him back next year. Celtics get the win. Jason Tatum, just awesome. 50 points. Red hot in the third quarter after they really fell apart in the second quarter. Looked like the Celtics were in trouble. Couldn't get anything to go in the second quarter. Come out guns blazing in the third. But yeah, Tatum, the Nets are going to have a tough time guarding him. So we'll see what they do to him. Kemba Walker, predictably, has a pretty good game here. 29 from him. I like what he did. He's been shooting the ball a lot better lately. Tristan Thompson really stepped up as well. Time Lord got hurt, did not return, probably going to miss time. We'll see. Marcus Smart also got dinged up, but was able to return pretty quickly despite a little bit of a scare there. But Celtics Nets, not going to be fun for Boston. We'll certainly talk about that in the coming days. Wizards dropped this one. Really a lot of ways to talk about how this went so poorly. Russell Westbrook was really bad with shot selection today. Hate when he does that. Bradley Beal, I don't know why Scott Brooks put him on Jason Tatum so much. That was a pretty big mistake coaching-wise, in my opinion. And just role players behind him, besides Ish Smith, who was great, all the role players just came up empty. Bertans was horrible. Roy Hachimura, foul trouble, was really bad. Alex Len didn't do anything early. Robin Lopez couldn't get his hook shots to drop. But it was really just Bertans, Rui Hachimura were just bad. And Howell Neto also wasn't very good, both defensively and offensively. Didn't even score. So they'll play the Pacers. We'll talk about that in the coming episode tomorrow. So we'll catch you then.